Berikut adalah tata tertib supaya pembelajaran online kita tidak sia-sia. Mister berharap kita semua mentaati tata tertib ini. Yang pertama, usahakan tidak melakukan chatting di chatroom, tidak mengobrol di chatroom. Peraturan yang kedua, nyalakan kamera kalian. Karena apa? Pertama, untuk memastikan bahwa kalian sungguh-sungguh sedang mengikuti pembelajaran online. Yang kedua, Mister ingin kenal kalian. Dengan melihat wajah kalian, maka Mister akan lebih mudah untuk menghafal nama kalian. Dan alasan yang ketiga adalah seperti kalau kita bicara dengan orang lain, kalau kita tidak menatap wajah orang itu kurang sopan. Jadi kalau kita berbicara, kita harus menatap wajah orang yang sedang berbicara dengan kita. Lalu tata tertib yang ketiga, mikrofonnya dimatikan. Jadi hanya ada satu orang dalam pembelajaran online di pendidikan agama Katolik ini yang boleh berbicara, Mister atau kalian. Kalau Mister yang berbicara, kalian harus belajar menjadi pendengar yang baik. Dan ketika kalian yang berbicara, Mister akan menjadi pendengar yang baik. Dan yang terakhir adalah Mister berharap kalian aktif untuk bertanya, aktif untuk menjawab pertanyaan yang diberikan. Hanya ada 4, Mister ulangi sekali lagi. Yang pertama, tidak mengobrol di chatroom. Yang kedua, nyalakan kamera kalian. Yang ketiga, mikrofonnya dimatikan. Dan yang keempat, aktiflah bertanya, aktiflah menjawab. Semoga tata tertib ini bisa dipatuhi sehingga kita semua bisa mendapatkan manfaat dalam pembelajaran ini yang berguna bagi hidup kita.
Elijah. Elijah was a prophet. A prophet is someone who sometimes sees what is going to happen. A seer from God. He also sees what is happening now. Close your eyes, then open them. Now you can see.
Elijah's job was to warn the people, turn back to God. He even told the king, as God has told me, not one more drop of rain will fall until I ask God for it.
Allowing Elijah to do this was God's way of teaching the people of Israel that he was the one true God. The people needed to see that even the rain comes from God. Can you make the sound of rain falling?
The Lord told Elijah to go and hide by a brook near the Jordan River. God took care of Elijah. He sent ravens to bring Elijah bread and meat every day.
Make a sound like a raven. Now flap your arms up and down.
Elijah's warning of no rain came true. Then God sent Elijah to a village to ask a widow for food and water. Although she was very poor, she still gave him her own water and then offered him her last handful of flour and drops of oil.
The widow had almost nothing, yet she shared it with Elijah. God rewarded her by promising to keep her bowl of flour and jar of oil from going empty as long as there was no rain. What is something you can eat that has flour and oil in it?
For 3 years, no rain fell in Israel. Elijah stayed with the widow all this time. When her son died, he called on God to bring the boy back to life. And God answered his prayer.
What is something you can pray for? What are some prayers that God has answered for you or your family?
Elijah listened to God and followed his rules. But the people did not believe in God. Instead, they prayed to false gods. Elijah challenged their priests to a contest.
What is your favorite kind of contest? Elijah saw that many of God's people had turned their backs on God. Because he was a prophet, he saw people in some of the same ways God saw them. Elijah's job was to bring the people back to God.
The time had come for God to work a miracle so great that his people could no longer doubt he was the true God. Elijah asked God to rain down fire. And God did.
This was a contest only the one true God could win. What do you think the people said then?
Finally, the people believed and said, "The Lord, He is God." So then Elijah prayed to God for rain, and God listened. The people raised their hands and cheered. After 3 years of no rain, now it was pouring. Elijah told the king, "Get your chariot and go back home before the rain stops you." Then the power of God helped Elijah, and he raced the king's chariot and won.
Raise your hands high and yell, "The Lord, He is God!"
A wicked queen threatened to kill Elijah. So he ran away to the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. God sent an angel to bring Elijah food and water so he could make the long journey.
Elijah was looking for God. He felt sad and afraid. Name a place you can look for God when you are sad and afraid.
When Elijah reached a mountain, the Lord said he would pass by him. But he wasn't in a strong wind. The Lord wasn't in an earthquake, and he wasn't in a fire. Elijah found God in the gentle whispering of the wind.
Move your hands and make a sound like the gentle whispering of the wind.
God gave Elijah a helper. His name sounded like his own. It was Elisha. Elijah put his cloak on Elisha to show he wanted Elisha to come with him and become a prophet's helper.
Who do you help? What do you do to help them?
When Elijah was an old man, an evil king sent 50 of his soldiers to capture him, twice. But Elijah called fire down from heaven to protect him.
Do you know how much 2 times 50 is?
Soon after, the evil king fell off the roof of his palace. Now he wanted to know if he would ever get better. Elijah warned the king, "Why don't you trust God and ask him instead of asking these statues? You will never get better until you trust God."
Do you know anyone with a broken arm or leg? Ask God to help that person feel better.
When Elijah was very, very old, God sent horses made of fire galloping through the sky to meet him. Elijah jumped into the chariot of fire they were pulling and went up to heaven.
What a sight that must have been! What sound does a horse make?